Yeah, leave it all.
Happy Monday, everyone, and thanks for joining us for another Reuzel live educational event featuring, for her very first time making her debut, our Scumbassador from London, Ontario, Canada, Kim Zeigner. As Kim takes you through her haircut demonstration today, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, please type them in the comment bar on the side. I'll find the right time, I'll interrupt Kim, and we'll get you the answer. Don't forget to let us know where you're watching from, and throughout the program, go ahead and click the like or the love button. We really appreciate you being here with us today. And with that, Kim, it's all yours.
Thank you, Carrie. Welcome to today's Reuzel Live demonstration from London, Ontario, Canada. Again, I'm Kim, and we're coming to you from Canada. And I'm going to, first of all, this is my new barbershop, Easttown Barbershop. We haven't filled we're about to open on Wednesday. Wednesday, we're coming out of lockdown and allowed to open up again. So we're not quite done. We don't have too many products on the shelves, but this is the new place. And you'll probably, during the course of this, notice that I'm up and down because I'm really short. And so this is how I manage to not get sore shoulders while I'm cutting hair. So we're gonna start, and I want you to feel free to ask any questions. Let me know where you're watching from. Send me some love. And I'm gonna start, this is Josh. And Josh and I've been cutting Josh's hair for a while now, and he usually gets what I call the Viking undercut slick back. So it's shaved real tight, real high. And today we are going to be doing a more blended haircut that's a little bit more versatile, a pompadour, kind of short on the sides, but blended. And he can wear this haircut a couple of different ways. So we'll show you when we're done the styling, how he can wear it a couple of different ways. So what I'm gonna start doing is wetting the hair. I've got my mixture of water and hair tonic, Reuzel hair tonic. We put about 80% water and 20% hair tonic in here. It smells really good. And I'm going to just thoroughly saturate the hair to start out with. Customers always comment on how this stuff smells. The reason why we put it in the hair for barbers, one, it smells good. Two, it cuts through any product that your client has in their hair. If they come in with kind of goopy hair, this helps to cut through it so that it's a little easier to cut. So I'm just gonna wet the hair entirely. And with Reuzel, we start with a baseline. So I'm going to be putting in my sectioning to do my baseline. And I'm starting at the hairline and going through to the recession. I follow my comb with my finger. I'm going to comb everything else out of the way. Take these long ones and put them up there. And we're going to follow the head shape around and down. Might just wet it a little bit more. So the hair tonic smells good. In the summer, it's also something that you can sell your clients because it refreshes the hair. So when they can keep it in their fridge nice and cool, and it refreshes the hair so that if they want to restyle it or something, it cuts through the product and helps them refresh their hair. So I am going to start right here above the ear. I'm putting in my baseline. And I'm going to follow the shape of the head around to the back. I'm putting my comb in. Josh's hair is a little bit shorter than I expected it to be by this time. So what I do when I'm putting in my baseline, if the hair is longer, is I comb it up and again up and straight out, and then just put in my baseline. Follow me around. Baselines, again, Reuzel cuts hair. The haircuts that we do start with the baseline, and we find that that helps us in setting up our haircut and protecting the weight that we want to keep at the crown. If you start with the baseline, you're never going to go up too high back here with your fade, and you're going to protect the crown area. And with hair like Josh's, which is pretty springy back here, if we cut it too short, it's going to stick straight up. So putting in your baseline allows you to prevent any accidents from happening and a sticking of the crown. We like to save the crown. These are classic haircuts. So, okay, I'm going to put the baseline in on this side. Again, I'm coming through, following the hairline through the recession of the hair. And sectioning is really important in these haircuts. I always say that a haircut, clean sections make for a clean haircut. So we're really careful when we do our sectioning. Just tilt your head this way for me. Gotta get my mats. Clean sections make for a clean haircut. And when you plan a haircut, starting with clean sectioning, you're going to have a better end result. This is a great way, especially for beginners in haircutting. These systems that we use at Reuzel are fairly straightforward. There's a few steps. The first one's setting the baseline. The second one is attaching the top to the baseline. And with those steps, you can produce a pretty nice haircut, and it doesn't take too long to do. Again, his hair is just kind of bouncing around, so I'm getting it out of the way. just to tidy up the back a bit. And we use our clippers for this. This is sort of the Reuzel way of cutting hair. I'm just going in and cleaning up the sides a little bit with clipper over comb. Just taking out the weight, fading it down a bit. Setting baselines can be done with scissors as well. We just find this is faster, it's more efficient. And I'm just kind of cleaning up around the edges. This is sort of the part of the haircut that's a little bit tedious. We always call the top of the hair the fun hair. This is the boring part. Just feeding it down. I'm cleaning it up using clipper over comb. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot a comment out there. I'm happy to answer. I'll try and answer. Josh has a little bit of a bump right here, and he's got some hat head. So I'm just cleaning up that. And that is something where clipper over comb really helps with, because when you're doing your fade, you can prevent shadows and stuff with bumps in the hair. Whereas if you're using an attachment, and it's okay to use an attachment, sometimes you go around bumps and you've got a shadow in your fade. So I'm just tapering it down. I'm going to clean it up around the edges and taper it down with attachments, but we'll start this way. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to hear from you. Send any questions. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I started barbering 9 years ago in my uncle's barber shop. And I kind of learned on the fly. I apprenticed with one of my uncle's barbers and basically learned by trial and error until I saw a video from the guys at Reuzel at Scorum and found out that they had a barber academy in Rotterdam. So I attended, and I literally didn't know what I was doing at all. They must have thought I was ridiculous. But I learned so much in that week there, and came home, practiced my new skills, and the rest really is history. We got busier and busier as I got better and better at cutting hair. And I can highly recommend the Old School Barber Academy to anybody who's looking at upping their game a little bit. It's a fun trip. The guys and girls at the Old School are great at what they do. They can teach in lots of different languages, and it is well worth the trip. Okay, so I'm gonna clean up my taper at the end, but we're gonna go ahead and just start with the fun hair now. I've got, what I'm gonna do is section the top into a couple of sections. So we're gonna start, I'm gonna comb it back, and we're gonna start right at the apex of the head. So at the highest point of the head, I'm gonna take it back, and I'm gonna comb that back. And we're going to attach the crown of the hair to our baseline at the back. I'm going to cut that section. I'm going to wet it a little bit more. It's step on my knots. So I've taken a section that's across the top of the head. And goes from behind the ear to behind the ear on both sides. And I'm going to take that section and just cut it in half down the middle.
Kim, may I interrupt you for a moment?
Yes.
There's a question from one of our viewers on the Reuzel YouTube education page.
Okay.
Would you, even though you're using clipper over comb, you're doing it the traditional way that we like to do it at Reuzel. If you were doing this with an attachment, would you be using a number 3? Would it be the equivalent?
I think probably that would be the equivalent. It really depends on how long and how short your fade's going to be. What I would do. I generally don't do that. I really like to build my baseline with clipper over comb, but I do have barbers in my shop that like to build their baseline that way. So it really depends on how short your fade's going to be. So I wouldn't go in with a number 3 if my fade was going to be, you know, a 0 fade. I would personally go in with a number 2 or a 1.5. So it really depends. If you're more comfortable that way. Okay, so I've got my sections here. Can you come on over to this side and here? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take sort of diagonal sections and bring this hair down to my baseline. And I'm going to pull the hair out. And I'm going to comb it out, and I'm going to lift the hair up and look for my baseline, and I'm going to cut there. And again, one of the things that's important when you're cutting hair like this is when you take your sections and put it in your fingers, you want to make sure that your fingers are going with the lie of the hair. So you're pulling straight out from the head. And you don't want to tilt your fingers up and cut that way because that messes with your line. You want it all to be even. So I'm checking. And my first section is attached. So now I'm going to take another section. Comb the other hair out of my way. So I've got a nice clean section again. I'm going to lift up my hair, and I'm checking for my baseline, and I'm attaching the top to the baseline. Doing it this way maintains the length in the crown, which is very important because you don't want that hair, you know, to bounce up and stick out. Just checking to make sure I've got everything right. I'm going to take another section and I'm pulling it straight out and down, checking for my baseline. Attaching the hair. One more section, just bring it all down. I find that cutting hair in these sections and being careful with each section helps decrease the amount of time spent on your haircuts. So there's specific steps that you're going to be taking with this kind of haircut. And if you take them slowly and are careful with your sections, it decreases the amount of time it takes to do a haircut. Once you're comfortable with all of that, with the sectioning and the steps, haircuts don't take as long anymore. So I'm just gonna check. I'm gonna take another section. So as I said before, Josh's hair was previously basically a Viking undercut. That's what I call it. And we are switching it to a more blended, versatile pompadour. He's getting tired of the long hair and wants something a little cooler for the summer and a little more manageable. We're going to take another section. Again, feel free to ask any questions. If I'm going too fast or if I'm not explaining anything properly, let me know and I'll try and clarify.
Kim?
Yes.
Actually, you're doing such a great job. I have to share this comment with everybody. This is from Jordan, and he says, one of the best people I've ever been able to learn from in person. Kim is so awesome. You got a thumb, like a hang sign and a love. So.
Thank you so much. That's sweet. Okay, so now we've got the back attached, basically. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple sections on the top. I am going to start at the recession here, and I'm going to take a section up to the middle, to the apex. So I've got another triangular section right here. And I'm just going to take the front out and add it to the top. What I want to do here is I'm going to be preserving the length in the front of this haircut. So I'm attaching the sides to my baseline now, and then we'll worry about the front at the end. We are wanting to preserve length so that it has a little bit more versatility and something, you know, that's the fun hair, the stuff at the front. So now, again, I'm taking a section of that hair, combing it down to my baseline. Checking for my baseline. And we're going to take another section and again, bring it down to the baseline. Check for my baseline, clean it up. Had a little bit back there to clean up. And as I go in front of the ear, I'm just leaving it, I'm slanting it down just a little bit, just to get a little bit more length towards the front. And the last section on this side, just gonna bring it all down, find my baseline, cut the hair. Angling it down just a little bit as we go towards the front. And we'll go over and do the same thing on the other, actually no, we'll take our front hair now. And I'm over directing it a little towards the back. And what I'm going to do is attach it, but again, I'm taking it a little bit longer towards the front, just to preserve some of that length. Take another section. So where's everybody watching from today?
Everybody is watching you today, Kim. You've got a lot from here in the United States, Uruguay, Lithuania, South Africa, Thailand, and a huge contingency from Canada. They're all there cheering you on.
Yay, Canada. I mean, also yay, everybody else. Okay, so come on over on this side. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going from the recession, and I'm going to take a section up to the center back at the apex. I'm going to comb that hair down. And I'm going to take a small section of that hair. Get that out of my way. And I'm going to comb this hair out. Find my baseline. And as I go towards the front, I'm just going to angle it down just a bit. Do the same thing with another section. And I'm angling down towards the front just to preserve a little bit of length for the front of the pompadour. So I'm finding my baseline. And I'm angling down towards the front. Now I'm just going to take everything over my last section. And everybody personalizes their haircuts a little bit differently. Depending on what texture you want or things like that, you can use point cutting just to add a little bit of texture or whatever. I like to do that now. I'm going to go through and I'm going to just check my haircut to make sure that it's even on the top. So I'm going to go through and do just a couple of horizontal sections on the top, and I'm going to point cut the middle peak off. There's a peak between my two sections, and I'm just going to go in and tidy that up, make sure that it's pretty even. Get rid of any extra hair that I see anywhere. And I like to comb through and just see if I have any excessive weight anywhere that needs to be gone. Right now I don't see anything glaring. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put some grooming tonic in, and we will blow dry the hair and finish the haircut dry. So at Reuzel, we do two haircuts. One is a wet haircut. We do all the sectioning. And maybe to recap, what I did was I put, anybody joining us late, I went through and I put in a section to put in my baseline. I went all the way around the head with clipper over comb to set my baseline. And then we went over to the top, and we did a parting at the back across the apex from the ear to the ear to attach the top to the back. And then we did some sectioning at the top and attached the top to the sides. So now what we're going to do with this haircut is we're going to put some Reuzel grooming tonic in. And I like to put a nice generous amount in my hands. And just work it in. And this is a nice time, you know, to give your client a little scalp massage. Smile like you're enjoying it. And just a little added service. So we're gonna work it right through all into the hair. And then I'm going to blow dry the hair. And the blow dry is a really important part of a good classic men's haircut.
Kim,
Yes.
it's looking great. I mean, we're halfway through and you can really see how that shape is taking place and it's coming about. So well done. We're with you and we're loving what you're sharing with us today.
Good, good. Okay, so I like to start at the sides of the hair. I like to just kind of blow dry the sides and get them nice and clean and dry. I blow dry back. And then I take the back and we start at the back of the hair. Blow drying, you need to start at the back so that when you're drying your hair, you dry from back to front, giving you some time to add some lift to the front. If you start at the front, you're going to end up with a more flat hairstyle because you're blowing dry hair over wet. So we're going to dry the hair towards the front, make sure that we've got it dry at the roots, and that's how we get our head shape, our basic shape that we want out of the hair. So a good haircut requires a blow dry, but a good to cut it. But a good haircut shouldn't really need the guy to go home and blow it dry every time. Josh should be able to wear this without always blowing his hair dry. Unless he wants that classic high pompadour. So at the back, I am blow drying down and towards the center. I like to keep this part flat. We're trying to create a pleasing head shape. And so with a men's haircut, we don't want a whole bunch of round volume back here. So we blow dry down and flatter so that we don't have, so it creates more of a masculine head shape. I'm using a vented brush, holes in it, so that when I hold it up and hold the hair in it, the air blows through it a little bit easier and the hair dries faster. So the grooming tonic that I put in his hair helps with the blow dry. It helps smooth hair out. It coats the hair, and it's a terrific product for, getting a shape, getting your basic shape out of a haircut. Then we're going to finish cutting it with that hold with the grooming tonic, and then we'll put some product in it afterwards. But the grooming tonic gives it some nice hold to start out with. It's also a really great product for, a fine hair. It adds some nice volume to fine hair. So if you've got a gentleman with a little bit less volume in his hair, Josh is, sort of blessed with a lot of hair. So now I'm going to head over to the other side and do this side from the back of this side. Come down here. I'm doing it sort of back and down. I think blow drying, proper blow drying technique is something that everybody should learn. It really helps with the haircut, and it helps with the styling of your client's hair afterwards. You can do a nice blow dry. When you go to style the hair, half the battle's done because you've blown it dry into the sort of position that you want it to be in. So at the top, I like to just sort of go through the top, nice and close to the scalp, not on the scalp, and just get the roots dry a little bit before I start blow drying the rest of it. Again, starting from the bottom up, I'm drying the hair so that I'm not ending up putting dry hair over wet hair. So now I can add a little bit of volume towards the middle here, lifting the hair up. And again, I'm drying it back and into the middle, into the center. And I come over to that side as well. And at the front of the hair, you like to blow it dry. If you want to get extra height in your haircut, you want to blow it dry from the bottom, you can tilt his head forward a little bit and just sort of pull it out and dry it up that way. And if you want to get some height there, blow drying it on fairly high heat. I've got it on medium heat and high speed, but if you want to sort of get that hair up and staying up there, you can hit it with some extra heat. And then you can just put a shot of coals to set it up there. With my mask. Putting it back on medium heat, just to do this side. And I'm going to hit the top with some high heat. And we're pulling it out towards the front and up. And can you do this side profile, like so it comes sideways? The reason why I like to do that, when we're looking at a hairstyle, I like to look at, when I've finished my hairstyle, I like to look at it from all different sides to see if I've created a pleasing head shape. And I find that if you take the hair out like this and blow dry it from underneath, you're going to get some volume out this way, which I think looks a lot better from the side. It breaks up, come back to the side again, it breaks up that sort of, there's a slope here, and if you just do straight back hair, you've kind of got a slope, nose, hair, and if you break up and pull this out a little bit, you've got some volume out at the front that breaks up that slope. So I think that makes a more pleasing head shape from the side. So now we've got our hair blow dried. I am going to go in and sort of personalize this haircut. There's a few different techniques that you can use, but what I'm going to do now is just sort of make sure that I've got everything sort of even, and I'm going to be, and I want my haircut to slant from the top, a little more volume at the front, down towards the back. So I'm going to pick the hair up, and I've got my blending shears here, and I'm just going to blunt cut to even it all out. Taking off sort of the ends of the hair. We don't really go in, so we call these blending shears because we're using them to blend the ends of the haircut. We don't, sorry. We don't really go in down here and take out weight because that sort of breaks up your haircut and breaks up the structure of your haircut. So we're just basically working on the last little bits, the ends of the hair, just to add a little bit of texture. I'm going to come over to the other side. Same thing. I'm just blunt cutting the length off so that we've got a nice even haircut. And then what I'm going to do next, I'm going to get my clipper comb out again. And what I'm going to do, now that I've got it dry and I've got it in sort of the shape that I want it to be in, I'm going to go back and sort of clean up any weight or inconsistencies that I have. So we're going to go in, and I like to hold my comb on an angle here. And we always do this before we sort of blend with the blending shears. Just sort of make sure that you've got your basic shape that you want first. And to the other side. Just cleaning up anything that isn't even or is too long. And then before I fully, get out my blending shears and fully start blending, I am going to taper out the back of the haircut. So I'm using my attachments for that. I've got the 1.5 on open, and I'm just gonna go in. I like to taper down. So of course at Reuzel, we like to do our tapers and stuff with clipper over comb. I'm showing you with attachments. Just to finish off the back. I'm gonna close it off. Got my number 1. It's open just to blend with the 1.5. Closing it down. Just cleaning up the neckline. We like to do a more of a taper rather than blocking out the necklines. I generally taper everybody's hair down unless they ask me specifically for a blocked neckline, which I try to talk them out of always. And I've got the Babyless clippers, the gold ones. They have a taper blade on them. And then I'm just going to get my trimmers out and outline the haircut. So we try not to break into the hairline too much. Again, unless they ask for anything higher, we just kind of clean it up around the ears. And then as we're going down the back, we try not to cut into the hairline too much. Otherwise, as it grows back, there's a line in the hair. It looks a little funny. So we try to stay with the natural hairline as much as possible. Sort of cleaning up the bottom here. And then over to the other side. Cleaning up around the ears. And again, not going into the hairline too much, just trying to maintain the natural hairline.
Kim,
Yes, Carrie.
we're coming into the home stretch, so I hope you don't mind. I took the liberty and I just asked everybody what product you should use to finish your haircut with. Let's see what they want to see today.
All right.
I'll let you know when we get some responses.
Okay. So now I'm just going in and sort of cleaning up the fade a little bit. If I see any shadows, I'm just going in. And again, these blending shears that I'm using, I'm only using them on the last kind of 3 millimeters of hair just to clean up what I have. I see just a little bit of extra weight right here, so I'm going to go in and clipper over comb, just get rid of some of that. And I might point cut in a little with my blending shears, just to clean it up just a bit more. And now make sure everything is nice and blended. Anybody that knows me knows what I'm going to use on this haircut, but we'll see what they want.
So far, we've gotten, well, Jordan, super smart gentleman, depends on the hair type, but I'm guessing Reuzel gray, so he's saying extreme hold matte pomade. And
Yep.
then Craig says Reuzel matte stronghold, so extreme hold matte pomade.
Yep.
Clyde's Barbershop says gray and pink. Those are our responses so far.
Okay, those are good. And they're pretty right on. I am going to be using gray and green today.
See, George says, love his natural shine, so stay with it, green and red combo.
Ooh, I like that.
I always love to ask that question because there may be something that we've not tried before, and then we can borrow it from all of our barbers and hairstylists that are watching with us.
I'm going to try that next time. So I'm just going to go in with some gray. I want some height out of this haircut. This is what I call the rock star haircut. So I want some extra height at the front. So I'm going to take some of the Extreme Hold Matte Pomade. It's a water-based pomade. And I'm going to get it in at the roots. Just work it right in, starting at the back. I never start at the front of the hair. We don't want any clumps of hair at the front. And I'm just going in and working that all in. Another head massage. Good morning. And I'm going to take just a little bit of the green as well. And I'm going to put that through nice at the sides. I want the sides to be nice and slicked. Work it through the top. learned this trick from Nick a couple of live streams ago. You've got product in your hair, just take some of the blue Reuzel, rub it in your hands, and wipe it off on a towel. Clean hands, no product. So now I'm going to take my pick, and I'm just going to comb the hair into place. That gets through all the product. And I'm just going to grab my comb it through. It's nice and hot and humid in here today. So what I like about this haircut is that you can style it a few different ways. One is just basically slicking it back. And then the other one is just kind of allowing it to part where it wants to part, and that's kind of the beauty of this haircut, is that it can fall any way and still look good. So now we've got it with just a small part in it. It's sort of falling that way naturally, and that's why I like the haircut, because when it falls naturally, it's all blended and it doesn't matter where it falls. He doesn't have to find he doesn't have to work to find the part line. And then the other way I like to style this haircut, which is my favorite rock star, is just to grab a little more gray, need a little more. And just let it kind of fall. And whatever. Call that the rock star. So Josh is going to head into his day now, looking like a rock star, maybe feeling like one. Do you feel like a rock star?
I do feel like a rock star.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm just going to get rid of some of the excess hair. So hot and sticky right now, it's not coming off. Okay, so that is your basic pompadour hairstyle. It's versatile, it's blended, it can be worn a few different ways. Again, just like straight back or parted to the side, or sort of loose and messy, loosey-goosey pompadoosie, as Rob calls it. So how are we doing for time, Carrie?
You are actually a little bit early, Kim. Well done.
Okay. So if there's any questions, maybe we can ask them now.
There are no questions, but lots of nice feedback and comments and compliments for you. So thank you. Thank you for doing our demonstration this morning. We really appreciate you. Any parting thoughts you want to leave everybody with?
One. I think that in hair cutting, practice makes perfect, obviously, and practice sectioning the hair. Again, a clean section makes for a clean haircut. The faster and better you can get at sectioning clean sections, the faster you're going to be able to do better haircuts. And one of my barber friends, that's what he does in his spare time. Super famous barber. He still practices sectioning on a mannequin all the time. So when you practice, and when you practice your sizzler handling, you get better. It looks more professional, and I think that's it. Use Reuzel.
Oh, I love that. Use Reuzel. Well, thank you, Kim. Thank you, Josh, for being a great model. Thank you, Sandra, for filming this for us. And most of all, thank you, everyone who took the time on Monday and spent it with us to better your skills and learn a little bit more. As Kim spread the greasy gospel, we very much appreciate you Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Stay well, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.